An Ethereum spot ETF has just been approved by the SEC. This is a monumental day for the cryptocurrency space. Of course, this took place last night. We are covering it in our daily market update. And welcome back, guys, for what is going to be another jam-packed one. If you are new to this channel and finding yourself on my videos for the first time today, don't forget to check out that subscribe button because we drop an update just like this one every single day around 1 p.m. UK time to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the markets and, of course, the cryptocurrency markets. And yesterday was a monumental day. The barriers to liquidity are being broken down, and crypto is now becoming a financial asset, which means it will unlock potentially markets worth hundreds of trillions of dollars. And the cryptocurrency market, I think as it sits today, is worth about 2 point something. Certainly the total too, which is everything outside of Bitcoin, is worth 1.1. Remember, we have a technical pattern setting up that is going to see this over 3x. And there is, of course, going to be fundamental news that accompanies this. And we are starting to see it. Just like we knew that we were going to get an Ethereum ETF based on ETH dominance, ETH BTC. Both of those charts have been setting up a technical pattern that is going to see Ethereum gain ground in regards to dominance of the overall cryptocurrency space. So take it away from Bitcoin predominantly. And of course, against Bitcoin specifically, which is where we get that, kind of one confirms the other, if you will. So we're going to be looking at all that. Of course, we're going to be starting things off. And let's just dive over to it. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful report. This is the official document that basically says they've approved the 19B applications that were put in to basically proceed for an Ethereum spot ETF. We're going to talk about the broader ramifications that this has for the cryptocurrency market. Many of you may be wondering, why is the crypto market selling off? This is amazing news. Well, often markets sell off on good news and they rally on bad news. And why is this? Because institutions are a part of that. Insiders have position. They already know the news before you get it. And they'll position accordingly. And they'll take profits when it comes out. It's that whole buy the rumor, sell the news sort of thing, which is the retail selling, but they already know the news before the news. And ultimately, that's why we saw Ethereum's technical pattern break to the upside, that bull flag. That technical pattern was signaling an upside move, and of course, fundamental news accompanied it, but insiders would have already been sort of buying into that. That's why these patterns take place. You are not an insider. The only way you can get on the right side of the insider trade is by learning and understanding technical analysis. But we will perhaps talk about that all in another video. Let's move on and let's not get too conspiratorial. Boom, this is from James Safar. Him and Eric Balanchunas are phenomenal to follow, by the way. Massive shout out to both of them if you're not already following them on Twitter. So he says, boom, approved. There it is. The SEC just approved an Ethereum spot ETF, so all of the Ethereum spot ETFs. What a turn of events. It really is happening. And of course, he goes to show the actual filing, which is a part of this document here. You can see self-regulatory organizations, New York Stock Exchange, so on and so forth. These are always just, it's very much jargon. And they, of course, have comments at the bottom. He goes on to say, Eric Balanchunas and I can't see it on the front-facing website. It was then listed on the website shortly after. He goes on to say, and this is an important note to take away. To be clear, this does not mean they will begin trading tomorrow. This is just the 19B for approval. Also needs to be an approval on the S1. Many of them have actually updated and filed for the S1s now, by the way, since all this took place. They want to be the first to offer it. Of course, because they are anticipating, why are the largest institutions in the world offering crypto-based projects? Because it's the new thing. They want to make money on it, and they know there's the demand out there for it. And if the remember, Hong Kong launched a Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETF, tradable on their markets. If Hong Kong's volumes are anything to go by, nearly a third of all the volume that Bitcoin and Ethereum saw went to Ethereum. So there's clearly an institutional demand for it, and clearly a more broad demand for it. And we've seen every Tom, Dick, and Harry, fourth largest bank in Canada, biggest bank in Switzerland. Everybody's buying the Bitcoin spot ETF, and they're going to get some exposure to Ethereum as well. Why not? And it's going to be interesting. I'm looking at projects that offer a good staking reward, because they will be part of it, like dividends and things like that. And of course, it will go on income or be taxed as income. But you've got products like that with 20%. That's very appealing for if somebody can park their cash there on an asset that's going up in a general bull market. It's a very appealing reward. But he goes on to say, we're expecting it to take a couple of weeks, but it could take longer. Should know more about it in a week or so. Going to add here, typically this process takes months, like up to 5 months in some examples. But Eric Burntunis and I think this will be at least somewhat accelerated. Bitcoin ETFs were at least 90 days. We'll know more sooner. And I want to show, again, because people are wondering, well, why is the market selling off? Let's dive over to Bitcoin. So a Bitcoin ETF, you can guess where this was approved. And we'll go down to the daily to find the exact day. But a Bitcoin ETF was approved literally on the 11th of January, which saw it sell off afterwards. So people will, would have been buying on this sort of retest of what was our head and shoulders neckline. Remember, we made that target. Look at how perfectly that target was. Head and shoulders are typically an accumulation pattern or a distribution pattern, whether it's inverse or not. You get a break of that, you get a double retest just to shake all the little guys out. The people don't have the right something. And then you get that rally pretty much perfectly to it. Or around it. You can see this is a very key level. It's where you kind of broke and then it sells off from there. So that buy the rumor, sell the news is like a retail saying, but generally people know the news before the news. And retail have largely been led to believe that we weren't going to get one. There was literally up until this week a shift. We also have big momentum in crypto this week. ETH ETF passed and bipartisan support for crypto legislation. We didn't just have the crypto legislation in regards to going after Gary Gensler's regulation by enforcement and the SEC's regulation by enforcement. We also had the stablecoin, not a stablecoin, CBDC Act passed as well, so that the Fed can't essentially issue it themselves, or the government can't issue it themselves. It has to be done by an open source protocol. I think maybe Ripple could stand a good chance of doing that. They could become, I think, like this unicorn stock, like many of the others, like that the US used to kind of levy their position globally. Why is the US one of the biggest superpowers in the world? Well, of course, it has a dollar currency. It wants to maintain that. It doesn't want the likes of Tether, a company outside the US, issuing all of that and being the biggest issuer of their own currency. It's going to go for a US-based company that it will push, and maybe Ripple stands a good chance of being that. Certainly with all the regulatory clarity that we're going through, it might reward them for that. The broader ramifications of all of this is, of course, that you're going to see more ETFs. You're going to see top 10 index ETFs for crypto, top 100 indexes, DeFi indexes, DePIN indexes, smart contract indexes. You're going to see it all. And this is Anthony. I'm not going to try and say his second name. He says, we are going to get a Sol ETF. Get ready. And we've been saying this for months and months and months, along with other ETFs we think are coming, because if you look at many of the people that are offering ETFs for Bitcoin and now Ethereum, they also offer other exchange-traded products for the cryptocurrency market, like Bitwise, like Fidelity, like ARX, 21 shares. They all offer other products, essentially Grayscale, of course. So we kind of knew an Ethereum ETF was coming, or you were going to see some fundamental news that was going to see Ethereum's dominance really rocket. And I think that's going to be people now buying Ethereum, and getting exposure to that. And also we've got ETH BTC. So a big move is coming for ETH BTC and ETH dominance. I think this is also going to sort of represent alt season. We also have, I'm going to throw something really interesting at everybody actually. Talking about alt season, Stan Druckenmiller, one of the best portfolio managers in the world, recently sold Nvidia, which is a really big cap stock, and bought the Russell 2000, which I think the biggest stock in there is about $12 billion market cap. So he's gone from betting on the big, sort of safer, magnificent seven to now betting on small stocks. Now, you don't do that if you think the environment ahead of us is going to be a treacherous one that isn't going to be forthcoming with liquidity, where we see rates high, so on and so forth. And what I'm kind of comparing here, maybe, and I want you guys to, you know, I want to ask the question. I want to see your comments. Why has Stan Druckenmiller gone from buying Nvidia? What's he suggesting is coming from going from buying Nvidia and now the small cap stocks? First of all, we've done work on the Russell, by the way, and we'll just spend a minute on this. And if you want to join the Patreon, I'm going to be doing an absolute dive on this because I think it is really important. So this represents small cap stocks. We've also done a lot of work on individual stocks and the fact they've just broken out of what we call like a phase 1 base, now coming back for a retest and finding support, and likely, you know, phase 2, which is an uptrend, is in play. Everything looks bullish across the board, and of course, crypto is getting its own fundamental news, but we've got all the technicals to support it. So what is Stan Druckenmiller suggesting by moving from a magnificent 7 down to a sort of small cap stock index? It's interesting, you know, it's another variable in our kind of bullish equation that we've had for a long time now. So this, of course, you are going to see other ETFs, such as I think a lot of the sort of larger caps, cryptocurrencies. Ethereum, Solana, I think is going to be first because it's the first on all. It goes Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. If you look at biggest flows in exchange traded products from CoinShares report, it's always Solana. Hate it or love it. But we have been looking and identifying the total 2, which we think is setting up an inverse head and shoulders that ultimately will break to the upside. You're forming that right shoulder now. You're getting a bit of a pullback by the rumor, sell the news, but this is going to continue. This is going to likely get to our $3.7 trillion target. Bitcoin $2 trillion. Who knows? I think it's going to go above and beyond this, but a conservative guess for me, a very pessimistic guess that this crypto gets to $6-7 trillion maybe. Could go into the tens. We just don't know how explosive this is going to be and just how badly they're going to devalue the currencies, which they're already doing a marvelous job of. And then relating that back to the Stan Druckenmiller comment, why is he doing that? And also, he's gone from a large cap to smaller caps. Bitcoin gets the flows first. We are yet to see alt season. And we'll see. We'll see when Bitcoin dominance rolls. I'm not going to make too much of a call on that because I've kind of been betting on Bitcoin dominance rolling sooner than it has. It hasn't. You know, we're majority in altcoins, even though we were getting back in and we own, you know, calling long Bitcoin from 16, 17K. We didn't get that trade really particularly right at all. Yes, we do have some altcoins that have outperformed Bitcoin, but we still have some that have lagged it. But the good news with that, the bad news is that's happened. The good news is it's still to come. So that's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic news. Again, all technically signaled. This is why you want to be a technical analyzer and learn technical analysis. We are releasing something that we're calling the Market Mastery course, which is going to take anybody from novice to having a very good understanding of technically how markets work in a very simplistic fashion that is provable in regards to it works and you can make money from it, just like we do. If you want to take your journey a little bit further and get more content, get one-to-one meetings with me, do consider becoming a patron. On that note, ladies and gents, I'm going to love and leave you. What a fantastic day. Have a fantastic Friday, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.